trees in the backwoods night. Red lights cutting through the pine in flight. Bigfoot stomping with his youngling beard. Whispers of tales that ain't too clear. UFOs buzzing solo through the haze. Howling banshees set the forest ablaze. Jersey devil howls, drink rays to the sky. Drunken cryptids party until the morning's night. Yeah. It's showtime, running wild in the moonlight. Stars burn down, watch the freaks all take flight.
To good times.
Raise your glasses to the mysteries divine. It's showtime, let the cryptids realign.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Drunken Cryptids. Real quick, I want to give a shout out to blademedia.com. Thanks Dylan for all the hard work you've done, the logo and the website. I appreciate it. You guys make sure if you need anything done, just go check him out. Check out our website as well. It looks amazing. And of course, if you've had an encounter and you want to come on the show, email us, drunkencryptids@gmail.com. Also, we do have a Patreon set up. If you guys are interested, you want to help support the show, jump on there, check it out. We will have a Buy Me a Coffee coming sometime soon. Might even be by the time this episode airs. I don't know. Podcast time travel. I am going to be speaking at the Ohio Bigfoot Jamboree 2 in Ada, Ohio on October 4th of this year. So, if you're in the area, come on down, check me out. Come meet me. I'll be the family tent. I'm going to be the headline speaker. So I'm pretty excited about that. And my dog just decided to say hi to everybody as well. So, Jack has to greet everybody and, new backyard, new everything. But then, let's see, we got the Arkansas Paranormal Expo coming up on the 25th and 26th. And then we've got, that's about it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's it. Cool. All right. Other than that, but I do have a wonderful show tonight, you guys. We have a great guest. They're local here, and it's all about Bigfoot, and then we're going to jump right into it. So joining me tonight, all the way from here in Arkansas, is Ray and Lisa. How you guys doing this evening?
Good. We're doing great.
Good. Thank you guys for coming on the show. I appreciate it. I read your post you guys made on Facebook. Well, actually, I have Chris with me tonight. I do apologize. So, Chris, you could have jumped in and said hi, and I'm Chris. I'm helping out.
That's no big deal. They'll figure it out.
All right. But anyways, Chris has sent me... it was funny, as I briefly saw it, and I liked it before.
Yeah.
So when you sent it to me, I started reading it, and I was going, oh, wow. All right. And it was enough to inspire me to reach out and message you guys, about your encounters and such. So,
we appreciate that.
Yeah, and again, I do want to say thank you for responding back and visiting with me last week, right in the middle of moving, so I appreciate that again, and for coming on the show.
Thank you.
So, why don't you go ahead so it's your show, so we'll just start from the very beginning, because you guys moved here from California, correct?
Yeah, we moved here about a little over 3 years ago. From California. We've got it's about a 3-acre lot. About an acre of it is what we call our main backyard. It is fenced in with barbed wire. It's just for like our dogs and stuff. And then we have another about 2 acres that go beyond that. That is just like pasture land. There's a little water source pond in there. It's like I said, it's about 2 acres. So when we first moved here, we decided, it's our land. So once we got here, the backyard was like, 2-foot high weeds. We mowed that down, but the back area, we didn't know what it was. We didn't know the topography. So we had somebody come out and they bush hogged it. The whole 2 acres down. So from, we had 3 acres where we could see. And then I maintained it for the first summer with my my zero turn as much as I could. But after the first summer, we just decided to, I didn't want to keep messing up my mower, like flipping it over and catching stuff that was in there, rocks. And we just decided, let's make it a sanctuary. We'll give it back to nature. So that summer, we just let everything grow back in that 2 acres. Now, I still have like a barrier between the fence and that area of about 10 to 15 feet that I keep mowed down, just so snakes and stuff like that. But we let all that grow back. And once that grew back to what it was when we got here, that's when we started to have.
And the deer feeder.
Yeah. Okay. And we also put a deer feeder out there because we're one of the only properties out here where we don't hunt. It's just not my thing. I don't do it. Nothing wrong with it. I understand if you have to do it to feed your family, whatever, but I don't hunt. So we put a deer feeder out there, let the deer come by. We feed them every now and then when we can. But then that's when all the stuff started to happen.
All right, so let's get in. Okay, so you move the property, you bush hog it down. You obviously left the trees up. And
Yes.
Right.
Oh, yes.
yeah, so you decided to give it back to nature, which is awesome. I mean, I think that's awesome. You got 3 acres and you have 2 of it natural. I think that's the way it should be. I would probably do the same thing.
Oh, absolutely.
And then you put the deer feeder in. So is it an auto feeder, or what kind of deer feeder did y'all put in? Just like,
No, it's just a standard one we fill up, and it's got a couple different places where the deer can come. We set it up where it's back of the area that I mow, but close enough to where they could come in. And I mean, we set up a trail camera on there, so we look at them now and then. They come all the time, and we can see the trails where they come in, and we got I mean, generally, once we feed them, it's like 5 to 6 to 7. They'll come in, and once we feed them, it's it'll be like 2-3 days, and then the deer corn's gone.
Yeah.
But they know where the deer feed. It's not an auto feed. I'm not even sure what an auto feeder is. It's just one of those we dump all the deer corn in, and they come and eat it.
Okay, so is it does it feed via gravity, or does it have like
Yeah,
a motor?
yeah,
Okay.
it's a gravity
so,
feeder.
Okay, cool. So yeah, gravity feeder, fantastic. I use them on my hunting property also, and I've actually found that the deer, at least on my property, prefer the gravity feeder over the power feeders.
yeah,
Okay.
wouldn't it make noise?
It does make noise, but some people, the way they feel about that is whenever the deer hear that spin, it's like a dinner bell for them.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that. I feel like we just turned to a Field and Stream episode. We're talking about deer feeders. So, all right, that's okay. So yeah, you guys have a trail cam put up on it. But how far away is the
Yes.
trail cam from the feeder?
Probably 15 foot, maybe if that. I've got it just facing the deer feeder. It's on. I have it set up to where it takes a certain amount of pictures, and they generally used to come
Yeah.
late at night, anywhere from like 10 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sometimes right at dawn, but lately
They changed.
they've changed to where they're coming like literally in the daytime,
Yeah. They either come real early in the morning or right before dark now.
and they never did that before.
No, they just started that. They've completely changed their routine,
All
which
right.
we felt, that was kind of bizarre because they had been doing the same thing for almost a year.
Yeah.
And then just recently
2
completely
years.
changed. Yeah, 2 years.
Yeah.
So did they change when the activity started or after the activity started?
They changed. I mean, after the activity started, they still were coming at the regular time, but then just recently, gosh, not that long ago.
Within the past couple months.
Yeah, I think we really noticed it this month or the end of last month. It's like, it was weird because we put the deer feed in and they didn't come around for like 2 weeks.
Do you guys have
Which
a
is-
creek on your property or a creek near your property?
We have, there's like a little, you call it like a little, not a swamp, but like a little pond area in our back area. And then if you go just past our property line, there's a really big pond. I don't think somebody owns the property, but
Who-
in the area, yeah, there's a lot of creeks and stuff that come through our areas. Our neighbors have a bunch of creeks. There's ones that go all up the outside on the other side of our property. So yeah, And when it rains, we do have like a little runoff creek that comes from the road down through our property into the pond and out to the other side.
Okay.
So there's a water source.
Yeah. So what I was looking at too, though, was all the rain we've been having here. It's like nonstop for something. I mean, it's been great for like 5 days now with no rain.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
It's going to start again on Thursday.
Hey, Lisa, you keep that
Sorry.
bad juju to yourself. But I was saying with the all the rain that we've had coming into the state this year, water levels are high, rivers are high. So I'm wondering if maybe that might be because one of my theories is when the temperatures here in Arkansas go up, they go down.
Yes.
Squatches go down into the cooler, the haulers and stuff like that, into the water areas. So I'm wondering maybe the feeding change, maybe they're, I don't know, trying to cool off or something like that. But, well, let's get started then on what started all this stuff. Let's go from the first encounter all the way up to today.
Okay, well, the first thing that happened was the summer of 2024. I remember Ray and I were sitting on the back porch. It was in the afternoon. And we're sitting there, and this really pungent smell just came wafting in. It was just fouler than anything. And it's like, it got our attention. It's like, oh my God, and we were talking about the smell. Then a couple minutes later, this god awful scream came from our holler area or pasture, whichever you prefer to call it. Ungodly sound like we had never heard before. It was not a bear. It was not a mountain lion. It was not a bobcat. It wasn't a wild pig. It was none of the above. I mean, I refer to it as Godzilla. It was just unbelievable. And I remember Ray and I looking at each other. It's like, you heard it, right? And I heard it. I mean, we were just dumbfounded. It's like, what was that? I mean, it just didn't click in our brains. It was just so overwhelming. And we sat there and it's like, okay, we'll just brush it off, whatever, we'll let it go. And a couple minutes went by and the pungent smell got stronger. And the smell is like something that had never bathed ever in its life. A little bit of skunky, bit musky, wet dog, and dead carcass smell. That's
That's how it smells.
best way I could describe it. And the smell got even closer, and it got a lot stronger for us on the porch. And we're like, okay, that's stronger. Does that mean whatever it is closer? Then here goes another scream, even closer. I mean, this was all within our holler area somewhere, but we couldn't see anything. And as I said, the scream went off, and we both got a little alarmed. Is that okay? Is it just passing through? What is it? Is it gone? Or is it done? And so we just sat there again in disbelief, and a couple of minutes went by, and the smell got extremely it was like it was right there. And then another scream that was so close and so loud that we said enough, and we went in the house. It's like, no, we're done, And we didn't know what to think of it. We weren't sure what it was. It was nothing that we had ever heard before. We didn't know how to identify it. And it was just so surreal. And
well, okay, so let me ask you a question. Okay, so let me pause you guys real quick, because normally I'll let you guys go through, but there's a lot of information in this one already. Right off the bat. Okay, so the smell. Let's talk about the smell. Have you smelled it? Have you smelled anything similar to this before, or
Dead bodies.
well, yeah, Ray used to be a cop.
you and Chris?
So it's like
Me too.
Yeah, so it's like what a dead body smells like. As soon as you walk into a room, it's like, oh, that's a dead body smell.
Yeah.
So it's not exactly like that, but it's in the same category.
Okay, all right, and now the sound
With a little bit of skunk,
Yeah, I have a theory on. I think that I don't think they emit this. I don't think their aroma is a natural aroma. I almost think it is kind of like a skunk. It's kind of a hay, especially with the smell and with the sound. So I just sent Chris something on Messenger to play. This sound was captured in this year, actually, outside of Beebe, Arkansas. Did you
Yep.
not? You've heard this one.
I've heard it. Yeah, I just didn't have it on my phone yet.
You didn't have it on your phone. So so if you want to start kind of getting it ready before the sound starts, and we'll hold it up to the microphone because it's quiet. This came off of a Ring Cam, and I'm curious or not whether this is the sound that you guys heard. So he's going to turn up the volume and get it set up, and we're going to just kind of play it for just a few seconds if you guys don't mind.
Okay, sure.
Oh, it says it's playing.
Yeah, it takes it a minute to come through. Is your
Okay.
volume up?
Yeah, volume's all the way up.
Takes a minute for it to come through. Take your headphones off. Raw and unfiltered. If I'd have thought about this earlier, we would have had it all set up. So I do apologize, you guys.
I don't hear anything.
It's not coming through the mics.
I heard it through my end.
We didn't hear anything on this end.
No, we couldn't hear anything.
Okay, I heard it on mine.
Nothing.
No.
Nothing? Ah, okay.
Can't hear anything.
All right, well, it came through, so it's probably going to be on the audio. What I'll do is, I tell you what, I will send it right now to you, Miss Lisa.
Okay.
Let's see here. It'll be on Facebook. So it's going through right now. Okay, so, all right, so this is the first time you hear the sounds. All right, and we'll get to the bottom of that one too, because the sound almost has an elkish sound to it, but it's not an elk because there's no elks nowhere near BB, Arkansas.
No.
So, but can you? So we
Pull
had
it
this.
up and
We had the
Okay, I
smell.
got the video.
Okay.
I got the. I'm gonna play it.
I'll let y'all listen to that for just a second. It starts off real quiet.
Is it gonna play?
Yeah, you think it's not playing, but it does. Then you slightly hear like a little noise in the background that gets louder, like it's getting closer.
Yeah, it kicks in about 15 seconds.
It played real. My volume's all the way up. Here.
No.
That's not it?
No, it was a lot harsher and a lot
Yeah.
stronger.
Yeah, it was, for lack of a better term. You remember I'm sure you guys know the movie Boggy Creek.
Yeah.
Okay, the beginning scene when you hear that sound and he said it scares me then and it scares me now. That noise that it makes in the beginning couple scenes.
Okay, it's been a long time. Chris right now is this cool thing is because Chris is pulling it up right now as we'll continue talking, and then once he gets it ready,
Like that.
That's crazy.
Because I saw Boggy Creek when I was a kid, and that movie scared me. And when I heard that here, I was like, that's exactly what it brought back.
It made your hair stand up on the back of your neck. Trust me, it was like nothing I've ever heard before, and it was so close and so loud.
Yeah, I mean, I ain't afraid of no man, but that made me think twice. We don't go outside anymore if I'm not armed.
Yeah, just for protection. Just in case.
I get that. Okay, so let's keep going in. So we get the smell, we get the sounds, and go ahead.
And then that was the first, I guess, vocal encounter. Then it was quiet for a few weeks. It was peaceful, and we thought, okay, whatever it was, it traveled through, and there's no problem. And then I believe one of the incidents, there were so many. I think it was, we heard a scream. Well, I think in the morning, a couple of weeks later, Ray was in his workshop, and then there were some screams back there and some wood knocks. And then later that evening, when I was in the theater room with the dogs and Ray had run into the kitchen for something, another big scream came from the holler. So
Same area.
the same area. And then it kept escalating. There'd be more screams. And when we'd go outside, sometimes there'd be growls and huffs. Sometimes you could hear things walking in the leaves and stuff. And then so we're still like, we weren't sure what it was. We had our opinions, but we didn't believe it. And then in January, I think it was January 5th, I think it was around then.
Mm-hmm.
We had our first snow here in Arkansas. We had about 8 inches. And so Ray had to fill the deer feeder, and he normally always takes his 0-point mower,
Out there.
lawnmower out there to refill the deer feeder. But because of the snow, he decided that time to walk out there, which is the first time he's really done that. And as he was walking, he found footprints
Over by our back fence.
Mm-hmm. You'd have to describe that.
There's like nobody comes on our property. I didn't even see him the first time I walked by until I was walking back. And as soon as you see it, it's just like, okay, that's not right. It's like right against our fence. So I went back into the house. I grabbed my camera. I grabbed a what do you call it? A ruler. And I took as many pictures as I could because I knew, there was some degradation with the snow melting and stuff, but it was just, it wasn't my boot print. I know my boot print, and I got girl feet, so it wasn't anywhere near that. And that's when I was like, okay, I was kind of skeptical up to that point, but I'm like, all right, this isn't right. It wasn't deer, and it wasn't bear, and it wasn't, I'm not a hunter, but I can figure out the difference. And I sent a couple pictures to my brother who's a hunter. He lives in Texas, and he's like, nah, he goes, I don't know what that is, but that's not anything I've ever seen.
And I sent it to 2 of our neighbors that were hunters, and they both came back with, we don't know what it is. But the one lady, I sent it to her to show her husband. She said at the same time, while he was out hunting, he found prints on his property, and him being a hunter, when he checked them out, he said the gate was too big of a gate for a man to be able to walk in, and too big of a print because it was just too huge, and the step in between was just too wide. So they had it at the same time.
Now that was the third picture y'all sent me, right?
No, that comes next.
Okay, because I thought it was.
That is a different neighbor.
Oh, that's a different neighbor. Okay. Yeah, because the first 3, yeah. So the one with the ruler, I'm looking at that one. That one is odd, and you can see when you zoom in the packed ice. And if you guys are watching on YouTube right now, these pictures are up on YouTube. Then that's for the audience. Then of course, with the one with the glove beside it.
Yes.
And then there's the track.
Yes. Now that track, the lady who I had just mentioned, she sent me those pictures. She goes, this is what my friend off of Brewer Road found on his property at about the same time the first snow in his pasture.
Brewer, there's like if you Google map our area, there's like, it goes from our property, and then there's like a set of ravines and trees and stuff that go away from us across a bunch of land, and then comes out across a main road that goes out of our town, and that's Brewer Road or Brewer Road Cutoff. So it's kind of like for lack of a better term, it's like a corridor of trees that, you could, if you're a wild animal, obviously there's a lot of cover there.
Right. And I'll be there in a couple of weeks to be looking at everything. So, all right. So Ray, you go out to, feed, to load up the deer feeder, and you come across the tracks, and good job of taking pictures and breaking the ruler out. Excellent job. Excellent job on that one. It's like a 13-inch track almost.
Yeah.
So, and that's still pretty big, but the width on that one is what's, crazy.
Well, if you look at the photo, if you blow it up right next to the ruler, the very end of it where the 1 inch is there, that's a deer track right next to it.
Tracking the deer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's there's a couple of deer prints in here. There's the foot. That's the only way I'm sorry.
Right.
There's deer track in there. There's a foot. Yeah.
So on that one with the ruler, you can clearly see how the snow got compacted from the weight.
Yes.
Right.
By zooming it in, you can actually see that, and that's what stood out to me on that one. And then the one with the glove.
That was a couple months later. The one with the glove.
It's crazy. You guys are like Grand Central Station over there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, don't apologize. I'm sorry. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm sorry. Well, okay. Well, carry on, please.
So he had found the prints, and so I had sent them to some experts, 3 different experts in the field, and independently they each came back with juvenile Bigfoot. It's like, great. So that's like, all right, how do we deal with this? What are we going to do? And the screaming kept going, and I can't remember. A little bit after that, we were going to go somewhere, and we left in the morning, and we came home and tell them about the garbage cans.
So yeah, we have a little bricked off area where we keep our plastic garbage cans. They have domed lids on them. We to put our garbage out there or whatever. We left one morning, and you can see your garbage cans every day from where I park my truck. We came back around, I want to say like 10, 11 in the morning, and one of our garbage cans was taken out of the brick enclosure area, flipped upside down, and just perfectly placed upside down. Now, if it was just a garbage can with like the flat top, yeah, I could say, okay, maybe the wind blew it over. But it's got a domed cover, so you literally have to take that out of the enclosure, set it upside down, and then walk away. And we don't have any neighbors that are practical jokers. The odds of the wind doing that, I'm not saying it couldn't happen.
It hasn't happened in 3 years.
It hasn't happened in 3 years. So it was, and there was no bear mark. There was no claw marks on it. There was no bite marks on it. No bite marks where, maybe a bear had gotten into it, and we just don't, there was nothing It was one of those things that was like, that's strange.
Are they metal or plastic?
Plastic.
Okay.
Yeah. And, so we were getting really worried about this. So the experts said that in order to keep them from, before that, I guess, we were in bed one night, and it was late at night, and we were sleeping, and all of a sudden there was a huge bang on the side of our house where our bedroom was. It woke me and the dogs up from a sound sleep. And there's nothing out there that's going to bang on the house. It was forceful. And that's when I said I had enough. So I talked to the people, the experts, about what can we do? How do we protect ourselves? Because we got into protection mode after that.
Yeah, which is understandable.
Yeah, because it's very violating to know there's something out there and you don't know what their intentions is. So they recommended we put motion lights out, and we put out, what's the other kind of light? The light we have on the porch.
Oh yeah, so we put motion lights on a lot of the trees that are on our perimeter of our backyard. I think we have like 8 of them.
Yeah.
That they go off, for motion or solar, and then I put a bunch of lights out that are on a timer out by my workshop that they'll start at 7 at night and they'll stay till 7 in the morning. And then we put it's like a giant shop light on our back porch that has 2 separate lights that we can swivel out to each area. It's like basically my sentry gun light that keeps. And then we also put we put chimes in the some of the trees out there because they're not supposed to like those.
Oh, they don't.
And they don't like those because
No.
I've found a few of them pulled off of the trees out there that I get the wind blows stuff, but it doesn't break branches and stuff.
But after we put the lights up, we only put it in for our one area where we call it our family area, where our dogs play and we go out to sit on the porch and stuff like that. So we didn't aim it out towards the holler at all.
No.
We left that complete. It's pitch black. We leave it pitch black. And we thought that solved the problem, but then we learned where every motion light was on the one side of the fence, they broke all the branches on both sides of the motion lights, all 4 of them on that side. So they knew, I'm thinking, where not to pass. So they wouldn't turn on the motion lights. It was kind of like their little perimeter alert, so they wouldn't pass it.
Yeah, the motion lights aren't set facing out. They're set facing into us.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like we're trying to like scare them off. It's just for they're face in, not outwards.
I get it. Yeah. So the sensors are facing towards the house, they're not facing out towards
Right.
the woods.
Right.
Exactly.
And so they figured out now how to maneuver around those without triggering them.
Well, they know where they are, so they don't go past them.
Oh, they trigger them, but
But they'll trigger them and everything, but they don't go past them, so they can't be seen. If that makes any sense.
It does.
They're trying to not be seen. So I think by them breaking the branches and then pulling, they hate the chimes. They pull down the chimes. So
I don't even set those.
yeah, we have some that are still on our side, but on any that we put on the other side of the fence into our holler, they took those all down. They want nothing to do with them. They don't like them.
I wonder if we were to get some chimes set up and put a trail cam on the chimes.
We put a trail cam out there. We didn't get anything because obviously the infrared, they're just, that's their thing with the infrared. I set it up a couple different places. I got absolutely nothing.
The one time we did get the trail cam went off, but there was nothing in the frame. It went off several times, but there was nothing.
So how the trail
nothing.
cams work is if they're moving at a quick pace, and I'm going to use you for an example, Chris,
Yes, sir.
right here. So in our investigation here that we were in up in Bald Knob, we set some trail cams up.
Yes.
And they were video. Some were video, some were photo. And when Chris was pulling up in his Jeep to one, you don't see him pulling in. You see him parking. You see the tail end of it. So it triggered, his motion triggered it, but he was already almost out of frame. So there'd have been nothing there. So if something was moving fast enough, it's going to trigger it, and you're going to catch nothing on the camera.
Right.
And it'd just be just nothing there.
Yeah, there was nothing there, and it went off, because it's motion activated, and it took several pictures and nothing, just absolutely nothing. Yeah. So we gave up on the trail cam looking for them. We just put it back on the deer feeder. Now they won't go near the deer feeder because we have the infrared light there, but they go in the other part of the holler. And I think that's how they might be getting the deer when the deer are coming to the deer feeder.
Yeah,
They're hunting.
They're hunting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we got a lot of deer for them, We didn't mean to make the deer target. I mean, we just love.
Well, no, okay,
nature.
so you get it's natural selection. I mean, in all honesty, Sasquatch is going to eat deer. There's not a hunter here in Arkansas that I have talked to who does not have a story of shot the deer, knew it was a mortal wound. It wasn't a drop dead. It was a mortal wound. Deer jumps off into the wood line. You wait. You give it a good time. You climb out of your stand. You go to the spot. You see the blood. You follow the blood trail for a little bit, and the deer's gone. So down here in the South, I think that Sasquatch has learned that, deer feeders are a dinner bell. It's going to attract the deer in, and they're going to, I mean, deer are deer. I mean, please nobody get upset with me saying that. I mean, deer population gets out of control, and, hunting does help, keep it down and cut down
deer,
disease.
We have deer, we have groundhog. I mean, we have rabbits. We have, everything goes in that area.
I mean,
there's just a lot of area.
No, we had that turtle picked clean in area 2.
Well, the turtle in area 2, we had the armadillo.
Yep, in area 1.
You were just talking about popping one, deer running off. I double lung-hearted one out of my blind in area 1. I tracked it to where we found the raccoon skeleton.
Right.
blood trail was gone.
Yeah, because that's what they
Yeah.
do. They wait. And,
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, that's why I was curious of what you guys had done differently. I was curious whether or not the activity started after you put the deer feeder up.
Um, I mean, I guess it was like a combination of putting the deer feeder up and then just giving
The land back.
the land back. I mean, it really started to kick up. I mean,
Well,
after the first snow.
so I interviewed a lady in Northwest Arkansas last year, and her husband they were from Oklahoma.
Yep.
And they had a vacation home that they purchased up in the Jasper area.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so they would go vacation, no encounters, nothing weird or crazy. When they retired, they were like, we have this cute little summer home. Why don't we just make it our retirement home? They moved in and started remodeling, getting everything put in place, and the activity went crazy. House slapping, everything going on. So with you guys being there already for a couple of years before this, I don't think that you guys have done. I mean, it doesn't make sense unless either A, they're moving through, or B, the deer feeder started attracting them coming in, because they don't seem to be messing too much with y'all, but they're hungry.
No.
Yeah.
And if
no,
it
they've
is
never been
juveniles,
aggressive. They're not. They don't seem to be aggressive. Now we have been told by a source that the person behind us had some kind of, I guess, an encounter of some type. I don't know if it's screaming or something about 45 years ago. Plus, we have other residents here in our area that have come to us and told us about their encounters that seem to be in line with ours.
I'd love to do a town hall meeting there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, have the people, a lot of they don't like to come forward because you get ridiculed so badly. Trust me.
I believe you.
It's awful.
I believe you 100% of being ridiculed. I've run a podcast on cryptids and paranormal.
Yeah, I mean, when I put it out there for people to, and it took a while for us to come out and speak about it. It's been awful. People can be cruel, but then there's the flip side where you've got people that will come out and share. It's like, you know what? Since you share it, I'm going to tell you what happened to me. This was my encounter. So, but it's been helpful, and it just helps validate what's going on, especially when it's in your same town, in your same area, with people that's lived here all their lives.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're right, and I'm glad that there are people coming forward in your town that are stepping up to be like, yeah, this is happening to us as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I had never heard of I think I had heard of your town. I'm not going to mention your town on the air because I don't want to, you know what I mean, for y'all's sake and the people in your town's sake. But we are going. Are you sure you want to go to Silver Dollar City now that weekend?
Oh, I have to. I've already paid for everything. I have been through y'all's town numerous times. I actually, 2 years ago, I went and visited all 52 state parks in Arkansas.
wow.
So I've been through y'all's town numerous times and actually have family up that way, so I drive through there quite often.
Okay.
I've got a random question for you, Ray. Do you use flavored corn, or is it just normal, non-flavored deer corn?
No, it's just a normal. Yeah, I don't use like the apple flavored or anything.
Okay.
It's just a normal deer corn.
Okay. Do you put out like any salt licks or peanut
No.
butter?
No.
Okay, so just
No.
corn in a gravity feeder.
Yep.
I am going to try marshmallows, though. I hear deer love marshmallows.
Deer love anything sweet.
So does
We-
Sasquatch.
Yeah. Sometimes we throw out watermelon and, stuff like that we look up that they like. We'll throw it out there. Like when we don't have deer corn, we'll throw out other things that we know that they like to eat.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll do that.
Let me ask you guys another question. You're not gifting these things, are you?
No.
Okay, good. So you don't have like a gifting site or anything. Because
Nope.
I'm on the fence on gifting sites, and the reason why I bring that up because I know there's more encounters y'all have. We'll get to them here in a second, but yeah, a gifting site is once you establish a gifting site, and then you take it away, it stops. That's for some reason when they get really, really angry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like now you have a pet Sasquatch that you don't see, and it's gonna It's like having a Chewbacca that'll rip your arms off. If
Yeah,
it loses.
that's why I did not. I mean, I was recommended by someone to do a
No.
gifting thing, but I did not do it.
You're
I was,
already gifting them with the
well,
the
With the
deer
deer.
feeder. But but
yeah,
again
the
too
deer,
though, don't take that down at all. Don't do that. Keep doing what you guys are doing.
yeah.
Honestly, it sounds like you guys have got some really good advice. Some of the advice I would have given you as well with the sensor lights. And the trail cams and cameras. And I know that gets expensive, but if it does get to a point of you're feeling unsafe, then you might want to invest in just a few outdoor cameras,
Yeah.
and that will keep them away from the house.
Well, like I said, since we put up the lights, look, we know they go into our holler area, and that's fine. They can do whatever they want in the holler area. We gifted it to them. That's theirs. As long as they don't come in our personal area, we're okay with that.
That
And
is 100% respectable. All
it's
right.
called, live and let live.
I agree. I'm the same way. It's like I have no plans of trying to kill one or anything. And when we
No.
do investigations, we do go armed, is because there
Oh,
are
yeah.
other things in the woods that will get you, you
Of
know.
course.
So that are recognized by the natural science world. Oh, you like how I phrased that, didn't you, Chris?
I did. I like that. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
I appreciate that.
Non-cryptids.
Exactly. So, well, guys, go on. I mean, this is awesome. Keep going.
Okay, so the sounds continued, and it'll go through spurts where they're active, then it'll get quiet. And I think the first sighting was in March, and it was completely by accident. I remember I was in our living room, and we have what do you call that thing here? The door with the windows in it, the sliders.
Yeah,
And
sliding
we
glass
have
door.
Yeah, we have a sliding glass door, and I was feeding our puppy, which we call Squatch because he has big feet, by the way.
Nice.
And I was feeding Squatch, and I just happened to look out the glass window of the door just because I was kind of bored. And I noticed in our holler area where there's a barn in our neighbor's property, but it abuts up to our property, our holler. I noticed this big dark thing, and it's like, well, what is that? And I got curious, so I went up to the window, and I could make out a head, shoulders, and a torso. And it was, I'd say, 7 foot or more tall. And I could only see the back of it. I could tell its arms were forward, and it was standing there. And it's like, I'm taking a double take, and it's like, am I seeing what I'm seeing? And I guess it took a step, and it was gone. And it's like, wow, that was real. That was there. I can put the noise with the footprint with now a being, I guess you'd call it, a creature. I can put it all 1, 2, 3. This adds up to what I thought it was. And that was a surreal experience. And that was, I believe, towards the end of March. Then it was, little screams here and there, and you could hear walking in the leaves on our side of our house, on where there's like the road called Short Lane, and then there's a little bit of woods there, and you'd be in the backyard, and I could hear them walking, heavy footprints, stomping in the leaves there. Then April, I remember it was in the afternoon this time. Ray was working in his office, and I decided to go outside and play with the dogs and just sit on the porch and kill time. And I was sitting there, and something caught my attention in the holler to the left, and so I got up from my seat and I went to where the steps were. Clear as day. I saw the entire side of him. He was tall. I could see his arms, his legs, his entire side of his body. And he started to walk. His swing of his arms was wide. The gait of the step of his legs, it would take me at least 3 steps at the very least to take one of those steps. And I remember it was dark fur, and I wouldn't say, I guess you could say muscular, but not fat, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
and it was dark in color. I can't tell you the exact color, and it's some kind of brown, but because of the shading and everything of the trees, it was really hard to tell the exact depth of the brown.
That
But
okay.
it seemed,
That is yeah. Because with my encounter too, like I said, where I was standing at. It was 75 yards away because we lased it.
Yeah.
And it was to me it looked black.
Yeah.
So because the
yeah,
words
it's
out of
hard
my
to
mouth
tell.
was WTF is that.
Yeah,
So
same here.
yep.
And I remember it was just so overwhelming that I I know this sounds stupid. I started to cry because I was just so overwhelmed with what I saw this time because I saw the whole thing. I watched it walk away and it moved so quickly and it was just walking, but it covered so much area that he or she went from our holler to in front of the pond area of our neighbors into the wooded area. It just was amazing how quickly it could maneuver. I mean, I was just blown away. And my husband came out, but by that time it had walked off. So he had gone to the back of our property, and that was about 5 minutes later.
Yeah, I went out there because I saw her crying, so I grabbed my pistol, grabbed my shotgun, and I walked back. And we have like a cattle gate that leads into the area. And I mean, as soon as I walked back there, it was that smell, that dead carcass type smell. So I was just being cautious. I walked in there, and I got right around the area where she saw it, and I couldn't see anything, but I could hear the grunts. And I mean, they weren't like 5-10 feet away, maybe 20, 25 feet away. In the brush is like, it's 5, 6 feet back there. There was something there. It was a smell. I could hear something moving around, but
Yeah, that's why I think there's more than one.
I was not about to go in there and find out. So I just figured, you know what? Thanks, tactical retreat. I know what something's here, and I'm leaving. But there was something. I mean, I honestly, if I'd have saw it, I probably could have shot it. But
No,
I know I didn't say I was going to. I'm just saying, if it popped up, it would have been that close. But like I said, that smell, it's not normal.
Well, so don't feel bad about the shooting comment. The gentleman I interviewed last night, whose episode will air by the time this airs, him and his buddy were playing paintball with each other at night and thought they were shooting the other one with paintball guns, and they were actually lighting up Bigfoot with paintball guns.
Yeah.
oh wow,
Yeah, until it stood up.
oh wow.
Yeah. So, but I get that completely. And with the crying thing too, though, is it nothing to be embarrassed about at all on that part, because when we went to Reeves Bridge,
Yeah.
the Bell Reeves Bridge, remember,
Yes,
and you
sir.
and me were walking,
Yep.
and Talina was right there beside me, and she got touched,
Yes.
and she about ripped my arm out of the socket, spinning around.
Right.
And I mean, if you remember, she was laughing and crying for like about 30 minutes because of
Yeah.
it. It's where she was overwhelmed with emotion, and she still doesn't
Yeah,
believe.
it's just so overwhelmed. It's like a brain overload. I swear, it really truly is. And this one thing, people say, "Oh, we want to see Bigfoot," but my thing is, once you see it, you can never unsee it.
That's true. There's a lot of people who've had encounters, and they're like, "I'm good. I've seen it. I don't want to see it again."
Yeah,
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
there's idiots like myself who's like going, "I saw it. Now I gotta see it again, and I gotta see it again, and I gotta see it again." It's I think for like my me wanting to see it again is just the fact of the matter, more validation for myself of what I've already been through, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. You guys, on the other hand, you guys are obviously living this.
Yeah.
it
It
yeah.
changes you. I mean, it changes the way you live your life. I mean, we don't go out on the back porch without a gun. We
Mhm.
got to make sure the lights are on every night. If the lights,
Oh,
if I don't have the lights on by 8:30, my dogs let me know. They
mhm.
freak out.
They
They're on the
freak.
porch, start howling. So I got to make sure the lights are on. I don't go to my backwood shop without at least being protected. But if I go mow down the barrier area, I'm making sure that I'm armed.
And I watch.
Yeah, she watches if I go to do the deer feeder. It goes up to even today. We're sitting out on the back porch.
Yeah.
And you got the crickets and the frogs, and we're just hanging out. And then we heard some sort of like weird whistle that it wasn't a bird.
No.
It was something that we had never heard. And then as soon as
Not
you
like
heard that,
that.
we were like, "What was that?" And then all of a sudden, everything else radio quiet.
Dead
So-
No
silence.
frogs, no crickets, no
No
nothing.
You heard the whistle today?
Yeah, today.
Well,
That
was
literally a couple hours ago.
we've heard, yeah, and then that was a little bit different than the whistle that I'd heard a few days ago, and in the past, a couple days ago, it was weird. I think, was it yesterday? Yes, no, I think it was yesterday. I was sitting on the back porch. Ray wasn't done working, and everything got silent, and I heard this whistle like I've heard before, and I guarantee it was them because I know it's them. But what was weird this time was the one whistle came from the left, and then I heard a second whistle reply from the right, and it kept going back and forth for at least 3 minutes. It's like these whistles were coming, they had to have been coming from two different, and they were trying to like find each other and get back together. And then the whistle stopped, and then the frogs came back, and the crickets came back, and the birds came back.
Because they left the area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like they were, because one was to the left and one was somewhere to the right, somewhere in the area. And it's like, that just double confirms, like the first time the second time when I saw the Sasquatch, the one went off in the one direction, then Ray heard the grunts in another direction. And then yesterday it was one whistle to one side and one whistle to the other side. And one was a little bit stronger whistle than the other one. And it's not a normal whistle. It's like, I wish I could describe it. It's long, it's off key, and it just, you could tell it's like they were trying to say, like, I'm here, where are you? Well, I'm here. It's freaky. And a few weeks before that, on the weekends, my husband likes to watch his football. He'll take football, whatever, Canadian football, whatever. So on the weekends, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I watch TV and play on my iPad in the bedroom while he's watching in the theater room. And I think it was a couple weeks ago. Normally we keep all our blinds closed and all our curtains closed so they can't see in. But that night, because it was hot, I had the curtains in the window open in our bedroom. And I remember it was about 10 o'clock, which is late for me. I decided, okay, I've been up long enough. I'm going to go to bed. So I remember turning off the lights, getting into bed, and you hear the whistle. It just sounded like it was right outside the window, which I know it wasn't exactly right outside the window, but it was, close enough. And it kind of felt like it was saying, hey, turn your lights back on again. I was enjoying the show. I mean, that's how it felt. It was like it was trying to say, hey, wait, we're not done here. We were watching. What's going on in there?
So what's funny about that is that there are, okay, I'm trying to play because my neighbor decided he'd be cute and start weed eating. There's been numerous people with encounters of Sasquatch watching television through the window. There was one lady that described where they would watch cartoons. They would have cartoons on, and they would just kind of, you could tell they were watching the cartoons and such. And I do think that they're really fascinated. They're curious creatures about us.
Yes.
And
I totally agree.
Yeah, just as we're curious about them, they're curious about us, because there's also numerous sightings of them, from the interstate on the freeways.
Yes.
Them just sitting there watching cars go by.
Yeah.
So
I believe. I really think they were kind of their entertainment.
yeah, and I don't blame them at all.
No.
I think mankind is kind of comical in its own way. Oh man, and that was today. The whistles were today.
Yeah, the whistle on the porch was today. Yes, at 5:14 p.m.
See, that's crazy because,
Yeah,
all
let's
right,
start
I'm
looking
looking
here.
right now. Let me look at my calendar real quick because I know what date I'm coming up. Let's see here. So that's okay, y'all. Yeah, okay, so the week that I come up there, that's when your episode's gonna air.
Okay.
So just wanting you to know that. So it'll drop that Monday, and I will be there that Saturday.
Well, we're looking for you to come up.
I'm looking forward to coming up. Yeah, you're going to be having me and Tony and Jacob, possibly my buddy Vince. Vince has never had any kind of cryptid or paranormal encounter, even though he's a big believer. He's even been to the Crescent Hotel. Nothing.
We got to fix that.
You know,
We never know when they're going to be here. It could, like, we had the guy from NAWAC, the investigator. He's doing an investigation here. He's been doing it for a few months now, and the report's going to go up on their national database in a couple of weeks. He had put up an audio recorder out in the holler, and he has about I think he said 300 hours of it to go over. And I believe he said he's gone through 80 hours of it so far. And he said right next to the audio recorder, he picked up the creature, I'll call it. You could hear it walking past the recorder. He said he could tell it wasn't a deer. It was dark. It was late at night. No human's going to be out there. It's impossible. Nobody goes in that area. He definitely believes it's the creature by the sound and the movement, that it was definitely walking past the recorder, which is one of the areas it frequents all the time. Now he has yet to do the other, 100 and some hours.
He said he's going to send us, if he can, he'll send us that part if he can do it without corrupting the entire file, which I'm not a techie, so I don't know.
But there's also times when we know they're here, but they're very silent. And there's other times they're probably not around. We just never know when they aren't going to be here, but we're always prepared for just in case. We don't want to let down our guard, because the worst thing you could do is let down your guard, then something happens.
No, you're absolutely right on that one. And I think you guys are playing that card smart. This is what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break, but welcome back.
Thank you.
Okay, so you guys were talking about, the risks and the dangers and everything, and how the lifestyle changes and stuff like that that's taking place. Today's the recent encounter that you had with the whistles and everything. So the show was still yours.
I don't know what. Like I said, the NORAC investigator, he's got 200 more hours of audio tape to go through. And all his findings. He had come out to the property twice. He found some of the trails where they walk on.
He found some hair in the fence.
Yeah, but that didn't come. That came back as one was degraded too much, and he thinks that was a mountain lion. And the other one was just cow. So those were, they were useless, and they had been there for a very, very long period of time. You found the trails.
Do you guys have cows near your property?
No, that was years ago.
We don't have any livestock at all on our property. I mean, not since we've been here. So, I mean, I honestly think that I like the guy, but he waited too long for the hair. I mean, the first day he came out, he should have taken it, but he waited a while, and I actually went out there and got it myself. But by then, DNA, it
was very degraded.
It was degraded. So, I mean, I don't know what it was, but I mean, it just seems to me I would have taken it the first day regardless.
Well, let me translate degraded DNA when it comes to Sasquatch for you guys real quick. And because Chris is looking at me like, huh? All right, so ready? So whenever they do run the DNA on anything that's unknown like this, especially when it comes to Sasquatch, and it's been put out there, it always comes back degraded. And the reason why is because they're not finding anything. Now, sometimes they will find where the female side is human and the male side is unknown. And that's where we get some of the weirdness at when it comes to these things. But with a lot of these samples that they get, the DNA samples that they do submit comes back degraded because it's not pulling anything up because it's not in the known database.
Right.
And so it's going to take somebody creative on the scientific community to log those, and then there'll be a database of degraded per se.
Right, something to compare it to.
Right, and they're not. And unfortunately, they're not doing that at the time. And and of course, and I may just put out some misinformation there as well. But if I did, Google it, guys. I'm not Google, as Tommy likes to call me. I'm not. But I do know that a lot of the DNA samples they've taken is always coming back for some reason degraded. The cool part is that we are putting together. There's an expedition being put together to go to Portlock next year that I'm involved in, and I've been lucky enough to where the local homicide department here is going to put me through a crime scene class.
Nice.
On how to properly collect samples, how to process a crime scene without contaminating it. So when we go to Portlock, my job is going to be, if they find any remain, whatever it is, I'm the one that's gonna they'll freeze and okay, call Matthew and do I like that little sound effect.
I do. It's probably what it's gonna sound like.
When you come on the 28th, Ray will give you a crash course.
I'm in. I'm all about that. So, but in all honesty, too, though, is when we come up there, at the end of the month, if we find stuff, and again, I'm not expecting anything to happen. I always go into every investigation with the prospect and the idea of nothing happening. You know, and Chris knows that. He's been on 2 of them with me so far. The first one we did, Area 1, Area 2, didn't think anything was going to happen at all. And lo and behold, we did.
We had a sighting.
We had a sighting, and we had weirdness with the sighting. And then, the structure, and which was nuts. And then even the Crescent, I'll be honest with you, at the Crescent, there was nothing the whole entire time I was there. Like, I was going, this place isn't haunted. I don't feel anything at all. And lo and behold, that place is haunted.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It happens when it happens. We just never know.
No, and that's fine. So, I mean, I can promise you this. So, I've already talked to the guys, at Chum of the Spirits, who are volunteering to be like the camera crew for me. I told them what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up. I'll be like the recon element. We'll get good eyes on the ground. We get everything set, there, and then we will plan probably for a fall when it's a little bit cooler because I sweat like there's no tomorrow, and I live in like the sweatiest region of the country, the South. I love the South, but I prefer to do investigations when it's a little cooler.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
So and I do have a little 11-year-old going to be joining me. Yeah, not Sammy. Nope, Elijah.
We may have 2 depending on what weekend it is.
It's going to be the 28th that you're going to be gone.
The 2nd.
Yeah, so when I come up there, I'm going to have a little guy. Elijah, he's a big fan of the show. His mom and Talina are like best friends, and he has sat in on a couple live shows. He sat in a little bit with the apparition about the Crescent Hotel, and he was begging me when he heard about me coming up there to go.
Cool.
I love it.
And his mom was like, is it okay for him to go? And I was like, well, if it's going to get anybody, because he can outrun me, so it's going to be me that it'll get. But he's a great kid. He's a well-behaved kid.
Right.
And
we're not worried about that.
He's so eager. And to be honest with you, if my daughter finds out he's going, so because I believe in getting the kids involved in everything and having the kids active in the woods and with nature, because if they're not involved, if they're not out exploring and they're not out playing in it, they're not going to want to save it.
True. Very, very true.
And that's why I love that you guys let those 2 acres go back to nature. To me, that was awesome. I love that right there. That was great.
We just want to, we feel it's the right thing to do. We just want to coexist in peace with nature. I mean, in our front yard, we have a bird feeder, and we have deer that come to the bird feeder. And the other day we have, would you capture 3 squirrels, a rabbit, and a chipmunk all in it at the same time.
Oh, how cool is that?
Yeah. And we'll go out and sit in the front and just watch them. I mean, we love nature, and we love giving back to nature, and we love leaving it in peace.
Yeah, I mean, because I'm part of the '80s generation. Leave no trace, and
Yeah.
only you can prevent forest fires. And I grew up in the mountains. I grew up in the woods. I was
Yeah.
always outside, and to this day, it was funny. Like on Sunday, was helping my parents put together patio furniture and stuff. And my mom was like, "Yeah, I bet you're just going to go home and hit the couch pretty hard." And Talina goes, "No, he'll be outside." I was like, "Yep, that's exactly where I'm going to be,
Yep.
sitting outside." Is where, and everybody knows that when they come over, just go to the backyard because that's where I'm going to be at.
Yeah, my husband and I, we spend pretty much every single night on our back porch, playing with the dogs and just enjoying nature. I mean, that's what we love to do.
What type of dogs do y'all have?
Oh God, we have 9, all
Oh,
kinds.
jeez.
We
Okay.
we have a couple of what do they call those?
Redbone
Redbone
hounds,
hounds. We have about 3 just little short midget dogs. Lopso. We have one like a pit mix,
Yeah,
pit bull mix. Squatch is a
Weiler.
Saint Weiler, so part Saint Bernard, part Rottweiler. So he's going to be the beast.
He's only 5 months old and he's 72 pounds.
He'd be a big boy.
Yeah, he's gonna be a big boy.
That's why we call him Squatch.
I'm about to say you
All,
picked a great
all our
name for him.
animals are rescues, one way or another. All of them.
So are oh man, I choked on my tea. And so are ours.
Yeah, same.
Love rescues.
Best kind of animals to get.
I agree, and that brings up a nice point. And ladies and gentlemen, if you do, please make sure you support your local shelters out there. They definitely need it. Just
Yes.
donate a bag of dog food here and there, and they'd greatly appreciate it. Any old
Yes.
blankets or anything that you're not using, the animal shelters would definitely take them. And that was your PSA for the episode.
Yeah, and don't go to a pet store to buy a dog. Go to a shelter.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, like I've got 2 Boston Terriers and Jack.
Nice.
Yep, and the 2 Boston Terriers were rescues, and Jack was a rescue, and I got Jack. Well, he's a Labrador Basset mix.
Oh,
And-
nice.
Oh yeah, he's a good looking dog, and he's smart. I'm surprised he's not over here because I'm saying he, and he knows his name, but he's staring at the neighbors because the neighbors yesterday realized that he loves water. And so they
Oh.
were spraying water at him through the fence yesterday, and he was just happy as can be playing in the water. So he's just sitting there watching them as they're sitting out back doing what we're doing. They're not podcasting, though. And he's just wondering if they're going to break out the hose. So,
Yeah.
but,
Some of our dogs-
Oh,
well, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and bring this in for a landing. I think we have covered quite a bit.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
There is a ton that you guys have given us, and I'm looking forward to coming up here in a couple of weeks to meeting you guys. And of course, and now Miss Lisa, you and me are going to do another episode together on some paranormal stuff, correct?
yes, sir.
Yes, because I love the paranormal. So I am the cryptids and paranormal have been a passion since I was a kid. My parents will tell you that I was the weird kid reading the Loch Ness Monster and Bigfoot and ghosts and UFOs and vampires and werewolves and everything I could get my hands on as a kid. I was all about it. So, but we're definitely going to get that scheduled for another interview so we could dig into the paranormal side because yeah, your parent, what you and me have talked briefly and some I was reading today while I was at work fascinates me. So I definitely want to be able to dig into that. And I think the audience,
worries.
I think the audience will love it as well. So, but you guys, thank you so very much for coming on the show. I greatly appreciate it.
No problem.
It was great
It was
to
great.
be on.
Great to be here.
Yeah, guys, we really do appreciate it, and I can't wait for Matthew to come up there and tell me what he finds, and then schedule the second one because I'm definitely going to be there for that one.
Yeah, the
Well,
second
we
one's
look
going to be the
forward to you
phone
guys
one.
coming up.
Yeah, the
we look
second
forward
one's going to
to it.
be an overnighter. I'll be honest with you. So you'll probably
Yeah, that would be a good idea.
Yeah, we're going to overnight it. Like I said, the first one is going to be me reconning the area, getting a good idea, lay the land, see if anything does happen, what we can get something to happen. And then the second one, yeah, we'll bring food. So don't worry about that, and we'll have
I
tents and
cooked.
stuff.
About that.
We cook.
Oh, well, sweet. You tell me what you want me to bring, and I'll let you cook it. How's that sound? We'll work together on this one, teamwork.
Sounds good to me.
All right. You guys are already, you've been here for 3 years, and you guys are like, beyond Southern hospitality as it should be. So
The way we are.
we're the same way down. here. Man, you guys. So thank you guys very much for coming on. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for listening to the show. I greatly appreciate it. Please make sure you like and share. Drop a comment. The more likes and shares we get, the higher the algorithm we get. I hate having to tell everybody that, but we have to do it. It's just part of the nature of the beast. And again, if you've had an encounter and you want to come on the show, email me, drunkencryptids@gmail.com. And Chris, good show.
Great show.
Great show. All right, guys. Until next time, y'all keep squatching.